I was gonna sit there, but okay. Yeah.
Well,
Sit here instead.
okay, welcome everyone. Well, I don't think we're gonna have class next week, so this is for now the last Wednesday night halachah studies before Pesach. So we're gonna again continue with the theme Haggadah insights. We're gonna start off with Haggadah insights, God willing, and then continue with the Sichos that we're learning about the three names of Pesach. I hope we'll be able to complete that Sichos tonight, but I don't know. It's been going a little bit slower than I thought, but okay. Anyway, tonight we're going to take a look at the Haggadah again, and I called it Antisemitism, the oldest trick in the book.
Yes.
Exactly. So first I want to point, so first we have the Haggadah, which I excerpted this specifically from the Alter Rebbe's Haggadah, printed in the Siddur, in the Chabad Siddur, written by the Alter Rebbe, but it's pretty much in everybody's Haggadah is going to be basically the same thing, but I included the instruction here. The instruction says, Tzorech lahagbiya hakois, you have to lift up the cup. Which cup? First, second, third, or fourth?
Second.
Ulachasois hapas, and cover the matzah. Kain kosav harizal. That's what the Arizal says. And then you say, V'hisha amda, this is what has stood by our fathers and us. Laviseinu v'lanu. Shalei echad bilvad omar aleinu l'chaliseinu. Not just one alone has risen against us to destroy us. This is too relevant, right? It's too applicable. In every generation they rise against us to destroy us. Gewaltig. But the Eibishter saves us. Now, there's a Chassidish word. You say Vehi Sha'amda. What's Vehi? What's it referring to? So the simple pshat means is the promise Hashem is going to redeem us. That the promise Hashem is going to take us out of exile, that has stood for us. But the Chassidish Avart is, remember the instruction we just read, what the Arizal says? It says you got to hold the cup. Got to hold the cup of mashka, not mashka and Pesach. Got to hold the cup of wine. This is what has stood for us, the L'chaims, sitting together, one yid and another. Okay, that's just al derech hatzachos. That's not obviously meant to be there is some truth to it, but okay. Anyway, let's take a quick look and do a very quick compare and contrast to the Rambam. And the Rambam I chose, but there's others as well. Let's see, can you spot the differences? V'hi shalom d'laviseinu v'lanu, shalei echad bilvad omar aleinu, ela b'chol dar v'adar oimdim aleinu l'chaliseinu, v'akadosh baruch hu matzileinu miyodam. Anyone know the difference?
Sure.
Sure, okay. Anything else?
Not in the same spot,
Yeah.
right? The Chalatein completer.
It's twice in the first one.
L'chaliseinu, to destroy us, appears twice in the first excerpt, which is from the Alter Rebbe's Haggadah. And again, I'm pretty sure that everybody here probably has that same version in their Haggadah. But in the Rambam's version of the Haggadah, he removes the first instance of the word l'chaliseinu, to destroy us. The obvious question is why? And it's like that in other places as well. It's like that by Rav Sadia Goin and the Shiboyle Haleket and Zevach Pesach, as we're going to see right now. Zevach Pesach is the Haggadah, the commentary of the Haggadah written by the Abarbanel. And he says as follows. I couldn't find a better print on Eitzar Chochmah. This is what I could find. If you look in the middle of the line, the first line, Vistakel, gaze. I saw a quote of it with another word, Stakel v'hisboinen. I think I saw it quoted somewhere else, but maybe there's different versions. Vistakel, you should gaze, you should contemplate. That it says in the version of the Haggadah, says the Abarbanel, it says that not one alone has not just one alone has risen against us. V'loy amar, what does that say? It's cut off over here. Oh, it probably says Hamagid. V'loy amar Hamagid bazeh milas l'chaloseinu. The Magid, meaning the one telling the story of the Haggadah, he doesn't say the word l'chaloseinu, right? Like in the Rambam, he takes out the first instance of the word l'chaloseinu to destroy us. Why? Rather, ki'im omar aleinu bilvad. He didn't want to destroy us. Who are we talking about here?
Paro.
Yeah. So he says he didn't want to destroy, he didn't want to kill us. He wasn't trying to commit genocide. He was just Omar Aleinu. He was just on top of us. But he didn't want to kill us. What did he want to do to us?
Earn money.
Yeah, enslave us. That's it. This one person, I don't want to say who it is. This one person, I was going to say, Kivan Boel Paro. This person is referring to as Paro Melech Mitzrayim. It's known that his intention was not to wipe us out, to commit genocide. There was no final solution there. Ki'im l'shabdom, like you said, like Yonah said, wanted to enslave us, wanted to use us for slave labor. That's why v'lochin hayod machzik bohem. That's why his hand held on tight to us. Levilti shalcho. He didn't want to send us away. Why? Because he needed us. He needed us for free slave labor. Kill us? No, that if he would kill us, that would defeat his purpose. His purpose was free labor. That not only one person alone, Shehu Paro, that's referring to Paro specifically. Omad Latzar v'oyev. He was a tsar v'oyev. He was an enemy. He was an oppressor. He was a bad guy. We're not saying he was a good guy, right? So not only that, in that time, 300, however many years ago it was there that one person, aka Paro, who was Omar Aleinu, to enslave us and to oppress us and so on and so forth. But every generation, every day on the Aleinu, people are also standing over us to oppress us, but even worse than Paro. And not just like Paro, where he was happy to have us alive. On the contrary, he wanted us alive. And that's why it says L'chaloseinu the second time. It leaves that in, because there were enemies of Jewish people in subsequent generations that wanted more than Paro wanted. That wanted not just to enslave us, but rather, God forbid, to commit genocide. So that's the Abarbanel. That's the way his version of the Haggadah was. That's the way the Rambam's version of the Haggadah was. It removes the first word L'chaloseinu, because that wouldn't be accurate to say Paro wanted to wipe us out, because he didn't. Good? It's okay so far?
Did they remove the word, or they just didn't have the girsa? Was the girsa with the word and then they removed it, or is it just that they didn't have that girsa? They explain why.
I don't know.
Shouldn't be that girsa.
I don't know. You'd have to do more research than I did on the earlier extant versions of the Haggadah.
I guess I'm never gonna know.
I just got a Haggadah from Eretz Yisrael. I ordered it, and it came the other day, and it has there one of the oldest printed versions of the Haggadah. You can look in there and see what it says. But I didn't look. Now, elsewhere, I didn't quote it from the Abarbanel, but the Abarbanel does say that Paro wasn't exactly a nice guy. He wanted to kill us too, just not all of us. He wanted to kill the men, or some of the men maybe, but not everybody. So he wasn't such a...
It was not only because the redeeming, right?
Yeah,
He
right.
thought they were
Well,
going
he
to be
was right.
redeemed.
He
So
did say
that,
to throw out all the male children, to kill
Right.
all the male
but
children.
that's only
Right.
he didn't want us to be redeemed and leave.
Oh, good. So that was also for his own tachlis,
Right.
but it wasn't a genocidal act.
Mhm.
Right.
Comes the Maral in Gvuras Hashem. Void Shomar, and further that the Abarbanel says, which again we didn't quote over here, but that's what he says. Shomar Paro loy rotza lakar rak hazchon belvad. That Paro only wanted to kill the males, as you mentioned, throw them into the Nile River, etc. So the Maral says, no way. That is not an accurate statement. How do we know? The pasuk says in Parshas B'Haloischa, Omar oyev erdif asika chalik shalom, which translates as, I have the pasuk here. I snipped it from the Chumash over here. The enemy said, Omar oyev. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. Ori kardi means I will draw my sword. Shemu yadi. I will smite them with my hand. My hand shall destroy them. some people maybe know or remember how we learn her. He said Lane, he was a Balkari, used to Lane a lot in Rabbi Scheinfeld's shul. I was pretty friendly with him. He passed away a year and a half ago. We used to learn Gemara. We learned a few Masechtas Gemara together. And he was a Balkari, a very good Balkari. And in COVID, he ate by us a lot. Shabbos. Anyway, sometimes would ask me, because he knows I like to lane. He sometimes would ask me like a little trivia about laning. So he once says to me, where in Chumash do you have a pasuk where 5 words in a row start with the same letter? So of course I said, I have no clue. And he said, Omar Oyev Erdoif Asiga Chalik. 5 words in a row, all start with an aleph. Right here in this pasuk. That's a little bit of trivia for you. Anyway, Tzvi Hirsch's Neshama should have an aliyah. So the Maharal says, no, look at this pasuk. What do you mean Paro only wanted to kill the Zecharim, the men? It's not true. The pasuk says, Orik Charbi. That's the Egyptian. I'm going to take out my sword and I'm going to Tereshem Yodi. What is Tereshem Yodi? Take a look in Unklis. Unklis is right to the left of the quote over here. I have the Chumash quote over here, right? You see that Unklis? The second to the penultimate line in the Unklis on the left. Eshloif Charbi, I will draw my sword to Shet Sinun Yodi, and I will smite them with my hand. They want to kill us, all of us. Likewise, look a little bit further down on the page of the Targum Yonasan. I just mentioned the Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, someone, right? Yonasan ben Uziel, buried in Amukah. If you see the schedule, I didn't send it out yet, but the schedule for this week's Shabbos Minyan, I put a picture of some cows. Figure out why the picture is there. What it has to do with Vayikra. But I took that picture right before Pesach 2022 in Amukah. You been to Amukah before? No. Oh my gosh. You've been to Amukah? Anybody here been to Amukah? Yeah. Yeah, you've been? What a place. Cool.
Is it deep?
Very. That's where Yonasan ben Uziel was buried. Anyway, Targum Yonasan translates it in the middle of the second line, the last line. Eshleif Charbi, right? Again, I will take out my sword, and I will smite them with my right hand. They want to kill everybody. So back to the Maharal on top of the page. So Maharal says, one second. Rabbi Abarbanel, Don Yitzchak Abarbanel, you say to take out the word L'chaleseinu the first time because Paro didn't want to kill us? Yes, he did. Look at the pasuk. Omar Oyev Erdif Asiga Chalik Sholo. I want to kill them. Verota La'abid Sakoli. I wanted to kill everybody. Loya says Chorim Bilvad, not just the men. And we might as well just read the next sentence of the Maharal because it's just also relevant. Da. You should know in this statement, many things are revealed. In this statement, we have opponents, we have enemies. But our opponents are not like normal opponents. Usually an opponent has a reason. He has a justification. Maybe he's messed up, but he has a justification. But our opponents ain't got no justification. They have no reason. Yidden, we have haters. There's anti-Semites, enemies. No reason. No reason at all. There's a dafka by Yisrael, dafka by Yid. People hate Yidden for no reason, but dafka is the Maharal. People hate us. We never did anything to anybody.
But we gave the world the 10 Commandments. That's what they hate us for trying to bring morality to the world. The 10 Commandments.
Okay, that's a good point.
And I, to be honest, I've read so many books about it, but because I'm trying. Why do they hate us? One book after another. Why they hate us so much? But
interestingly that you say that. I didn't quote the whole passage after this.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I didn't actually even read the entire discussion following this in the Maharal. We should go back and read it now. But he actually then discusses maybe these people did hate us for a reason, these people did not hate us. So he actually has a whole discussion about who hated us for reasons.
Right.
So it's a good point.
Right.
It's a good point.
Exactly.
But either way, you could also argue that the Jews didn't bring the 10 Commandments. That was God himself. But in any event.
Right.
So says the Maharal that no, why you take out the first word L'chaleseinu to destroy us? He did want to destroy us. So let's take a look in the Rebbe's Haggadah over here where he has the commentary. Echad L'chaleseinu, Sidra Sag, that's Absad Yagoin, Rambam, Shibole Haleket, V'zevach Pesach, Hishmitu tevas l'chaloseinu harishona. They remove, and Tzvi, I don't know, again, I have to look at the earlier versions of the Haggadah. When did it get removed? Did they remove it? Were there just different versions? I don't know. But they removed the first word l'chaloseinu to destroy us. Why? Ve'atam lefisha ha'echad, right? Sheloi echad bilvad. Not only one alone wanted to kill her. Who's the echad? Kivin be'el paro, as we know, that's referring to Paro. And as they explained, as we saw in the Abarbanel, v'loi hosa kavanosa lakar sakol, and he did not intend to wipe us all out. Zayin Pei stands for Zevach Pesach. That's not God of the Abarbanel. As we saw that. Now, how do we justify our nusach that does say the word l'chalosein? And in order to explain our nusach, our I think means most of us really, right? Not just Chabad. That Rebbe here is officially explaining the nusach of Chabad Haggadah. But again, I think all of us have this 2 times l'chalosein here to explain our nusach. And by the way, v'kein hu b'siddur ha'arizal. It's also like that in the Siddur of the Arizal, Shla, Yaivitz. We can explain as follows. In the beginning of our slavery, it's true that Paro only made a decree against the males. However, then he changed. Then he says, I'll draw my sword, I will smite them with my hand. Then Shabikesh Lakar Sakol. Then indeed he wanted to commit genocide. Maharal, like the Maharal writes, Bekain Mashma, Betargum Unklus, Betargum Yonasan al Hatera Sham. And that's what the Targum Yonasan and Targum Unklus also indicate. So they have their reason for removing the word l'chaloseinu, because they say Paro didn't want to kill all of us. He just wanted to enslave us. In fact, killing us would be to his detriment. But then the Rebbe explains, based on the Maharal, really, that changed at some point, right? After he set us free, then he's okay, I'm not even going to bring you guys back. I'm just going to go, Ordik Charbi, I'm going to draw my sword, I want to wipe you all out, commit genocide. Mm-hmm. So therefore, we can justify indeed having the 2 times of the word l'chalosein. Yeah.
So, this may be because I'm late and I apologize. This comes out that way, but by destroying all the males, don't you pretty much destroy the people?
Yes, so the Abarbanel says not all the males. Didn't want to destroy all of them. The Abarbanel writes, and I didn't quote it here, look for it, that he wanted to destroy the nivchorim, the best ones. Which you could ask a similar question still to what you're saying. Why destroy the best ones? You want to preserve the gene pool. I don't know.
You define best.
How would he decide who are the best ones when they're babies?
I don't know, but it wasn't just babies. It was perhaps later on he wanted to kill other men as well. I don't exactly know. You're asking a good question. But it seems, in my understanding of the Abarbanel, that he didn't want to kill every male. Like you said, then that's also going to be defeating the purpose. You're going to run out of slaves at some point if you kill all the males. So it seems for some reason, and how did he pick and choose?
And plus he had the power just to destroy everybody. What, yes, that will eventually do that, but if that was his plan, then why not just destroy everyone from the start? Like he's like he can do a lot worse faster. What was obviously?
What he's saying when he was chasing,
he had a different cheshbon. He had like a different thing he was trying to accomplish. But then later, and then he changed. Then he said,
when he was chasing them. So when he was about to lose them, then he wanted to kill them all. I mean, if I'm going to lose them, I might as well.
I can't have you. No one can.
Right. So in other words, it's accurate to say that Paro did want to commit genocide. It's accurate.
No, only after they were leaving.
So he wanted to do it. So therefore, we could say that he wanted to destroy us, and today they also want to destroy us. That's the whole thing that Abarbanel is bothered by, right? You shouldn't say Paro wanted to destroy us. You shouldn't say it. It's not true. So we, for Antford, we give an explanation how it is true. So that's a diuk in the Haggadah. Everything in the Haggadah, everything in all of Yiddishkeit, all of Torah is very precise. It's not random. It has meaning to it. It has intention. It has clarity. So, okay, that's a little bit of insight in the Haggadah. What's the message? This is what stands for us. We have to say l'chaim to each other, stand together, and this is it. But Kadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu miyadam. The Eibusher saves us, and the Eibusher Mitzvah Hashem will save us again from this bitter golus we're in to take us out of golus and Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, shall we move on to the second part of the shir?
Sure.
Okay.
Making good time.
Making good time. I was going to read part of this excerpt from this Reb Zevin about the Rebbe's Haggadah, but I'll leave it for another time.
I have to get my sleep.
Okay. Oh, these I only have these pamphlets that were someone took them last time, I think, but this one. Okay, we are learning about the three names of Pesach, and we are suggesting that the three names are indicative of three stages to freedom, three steps to freedom. And we said that in order to become new, in order to become a new people, a Torah folk, to become a new entity, to experience completely transformative growth, we have to have an empty cup. We can't be full of anything, not ourselves, not anything else. When I'm full of myself or anything else, there's no room for something new to come. As Chazal tell us, the Gemara Masechta Brachos, Kli Rekon Machzik. An empty Kli is able to contain. Which I don't think Chazal were telling us that the cup has to be empty if you want to put tea in it. I think they were saying something more profound than something obvious that we could figure out on our own. They're telling us we are a Kli and you have to be empty to be able to be be able to be machzik, to hold something, to contain. So that's step one. Step one is you have to be empty, bittul, a suspension of self. Step two, however, is now put yourself back into it. You're a Kli after all. You have to be Kli rekon, empty, but you have to be a something. So after the first step of being empty and ready to receive, now jump into it. Now use your seichel, use your talents, use your abilities, put yourself into it. That's the way the process always has to be. And all of this has to be preceded by yamin mekareves, by the right hand. We gave the example of the teacher saying a milsa de bedichsa, a joke, not really a joke, is that right? We did speak about that, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly a joke, but a humorous insight or a cute vart or something that levels the playing field, right? When a Talmud sees a Rebbe, person who's so much greater than him, a great Talmud Chacham, said there's a little bit of distance, a little bit of intimidation. How do I learn from a person who's so great? I heard a vart, I don't know the source, but say what I heard, that Reb Pinchas Hirschsprung was a big Goin, lived in Montreal. He came to the Rebbe to go to Farbrengen, and he heard that Rebbe was a great Torah scholar. Pinchas Hirschsprung was not a Lubavitcher; he was a big Goin. And the way I'll say the way I heard the word that he thought maybe I'll be able to be a teacher for the Lubavitcher Rebbe. That wasn't arrogance, by the way. He was one of the Gedolei Hador. I could maybe teach the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He came to the Farbrengen. He listens to the Farbrengen. Thinks to himself, well, maybe I won't be the Rebbe's teacher, but maybe I'll be his chaver, his colleague. After the Farbrengen, he thought, halavai to be his Talmud. Okay, so there's different relationships the person has with different people, right? We're going to speak on Shabbos Haggadah a little bit in Mitzvah Hashem about Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Tarfon, who was whose Rebbe, who was whose Talmud, why are they listed in the order that they're listed in the Haggadah? I don't want to give too much of a spoiler. That's a little bit what we're going to talk about. It's going to be Gishmak Mitzvah Hashem. Shabbos afternoon, 5:45. Everyone's invited, men and women. If you have a place you go to already, please do that. But if you don't have a place you go to already, please feel free to join here, God willing. So we need that initial milsa de bedichsa, that initial leveling of the playing field, so that I feel like I can be makabel from you. And that's what the milsa de bedichsa, this humorous remark, a cute vart, a nice saying, whatever it may be, opens up the Talmidim. Now I want to receive. Now I'm ready to receive. Oh, you're ready to receive? Empty your cup. Step one of the actual receiving, the actual transmission, is you gotta have an empty cup. Step two is now use your cup. Be a cup. Don't be a broken cup. If your cup has holes in it, not gonna hold anything. Like once there was a Purim Farbrengen, a Yid came to the Rebbe, and he was not so religious. He didn't know Yiddish so much exactly, and his cup that he had tried to get a l'chaim at the Farbrengen had a hole in it. So he said to the Rebbe, "Chab a lochin cup. I have a hole in my cup." But cup in English, cup in Yiddish means your head. Chab a lochin cup. He meant to say, "I have a hole in my cup." My
Right.
wine.
Rebbe knew that already.
Right.
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 Probably the Rebbe knew.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let's jump into hay. I think that's where we're holding, I believe. Hey. Al Pisa Yuvan Gama Seder Maimer Chazal. We can now explain the Maimer Chazal and Masechta Soita that says Lo'olam Tehei Smoil Doicha V'Yomim Mekareves. It says always the Seder should be first. Everybody see it on page Chof Gimel. Page Chof Gimel Ois Hey. The Seder should be first Smoil Doicha. The left, which is representative of Gvura, severity, judgment. The left is Doicha, pushes away. Then V'Yomim Mekareves. The right hand brings close, is Makarev. So what comes first here? Pushing away. Gvura, severity, judgment. Pushing away comes first. This Gemara implies that first, step one in a relationship is smoil doicha, push away. And second comes bring close. We're going to discuss. The emphasis here is not just that which hand are you pushing away with or which hand are you bringing close with. Pushing away with the left hand. Left hand is the weak hand, right? Like yad keha, yodecha. That's how we know that when you put the tefillin on the weak hand because there's an extra hey. Yodecha is yud daled chaf. But at one of the times it appears in the Shema, it's yud daled chaf hey. Why the hey on the end? So Chazal say it's yad keha. It's a compound word. It means yad keha, the weak hand. So it's not just that which hand are you pushing away with? The weak one. Which hand are you makarev with? The strong one. It's not just that. Shagamal ze efshar lishol kadei katzilo question. Ketzad seder ze masim in maimer anal shemekame the posach lahu amar musa de bedichsa tunu shemakareves lusoif yosef be'emsa tunu afachis. How does this fit with what we said before last week? That before the Rebbe begins teaching, what should he do? Milsa de bedichsa. He should say a humorous remark. That's an act of kiruv. That's yamin makareves. That's trying to bring the talmidim close. And then after the Rebbe, the teacher, gives a nice, warming, opening, leveling the playing field type remark, then Lasoif afterwards, Yosef be'ems. Everybody sits with Ema, with reverence or awe, or however you want to translate it exactly. So it seems to be the opposite. So how do we say the left comes first? Left is pushing away. But we learned before, no. The step one has to be the Rebbe has to be Makarev. What are you? Your Talmidim come and you push them away? What kind of Rebbe are you? What kind of teacher are you? I heard this morning another part. Heard the name of the Avdi Nezer. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it. Why do we do Kaddish and then Urchatz? Kaddish means to sanctify, to be holy. Urchatz means wash away the shmutz, the tumah. No, it should be the other way around. You're gonna come to do Kaddish. You're gonna come to sanctify yourself. A person is gonna be shmutzik, tumah, and the averas, whatever. It says in Tilim, Surei Rav, I say toyev. First, Surei Rav, get rid of the bad, then do good. Maybe we should do urchatz, wash your hands, get rid of the tumah, then Kaddish. Then we could sanctify ourselves.
It's not on Shabbos too. Like it's not a Pesach question per se. Like anytime, yeah. Not just Shabbos either. Or any day.
But here,
But Shabbos, yeah.
okay, here's the simanim. Okay, it's true. The simanim of the seder. So the vart was again. I tried to find it. Avdi Nezer couldn't find it. Whatever. Not that that's a proof of anything. No, by the avoda by the seder, maybe the avoda bechlal is kaddish. First, do the mitzvahs. We'll talk about the urchatz afterwards. We'll talk about the washing away the tumah there. First, jump in, do a mitzvah, grab an opportunity for something good, for asay toiv. Then we'll talk about the surmei later. Okay. Anyway, similar of over here. If the teacher is going to have talmidim come to him, what does he do? Small deicha. You guys are you have and you're going to give them musar. Who's going to go back? Who's going to want to learn from such a person? That's not the seder. The Seder in the Gemara, Rabbah, first is Yamin Makareves. He brings them in closely. He tells them a humorous remark to level the playing field, make everyone feel welcome and comfortable. Furthermore, Void, Klalhu, it's a principle. Principle means a halachic principle. Sheyomin Kedemas L'Smoil. Right comes first, over left. V'kan hasmol Yulifnei Hayomim. But here, in this Maimer Chazal, that the Gemara from the Gemara and Sota, the left comes first. So it goes against the Klal and Halacha. The left does not come first. The right comes first. So what's going on over here? And let's make the question even stronger. The question even becomes bigger. After, in the Gemara and Sota, after it says, there's a minute to learn Masech Sota during Sfir Saimer. 1 page a day, there's 49 pages, so you can Messiah and Erev Shavuos. God willing, we'll do it. So after it says that a person should be smoil doiche, the left pushes away, and then you mean mekareves, then the Gemara says, by the way, yetzer, the evil inclination, tinoik, a child, a baby, the isha, and a woman, that's where you should be smoil doiche, push away first with the left, and then you mean mekareves. But really, that's how we should relate. Particularly, as the Gemara is going to add specifically to a child. The Seder on Hagim Tina Kushatzorich Lazarzoi Lalimud Bedvarim Shemahu Metzlei Lakat Nishonov. The Seder, as the Rambam writes, that the Seder with education is you have to encourage a child, giving him nuts or nowadays lollipops, candies, things that he loves. Kra, read a pasuk. I'll give you some almonds, some nuts. To encourage them. You don't push them away. So a child, you have to be makar of them first. You have to be warm. You have to welcome them. If God forbid, what happens? How many children were pushed away from learning? God forbid, because they had a rebbe who was too harsh. God forbid. You can't be harsh. You have to warm them up, love them, makar them. Now we can explain. But in the statement in the Gemara and Sota that says first have smol deicha first, that's talking about how to have an effect on someone else practically. What do you do when it comes to actually influencing them? So the answer is first comes smol doiche. But remember, there's an introduction before the bittul, before the empty cup. There's an introduction before that. But we're not talking about the preface, the introduction to the hashpah, to the flow, to the teaching. Again, it's really 2 stages of limud. Stage 1 of limud is be an empty cup. Stage 2 of limud is be a cup and use your talents, use your intellect. But remember, there's a 3rd stage, which is actually the first preparatory stage. That's the milsat b'dichse. That's the warm experience. That's the kiruv that the Rebbe gives his talmidim. That's the candies. And that's not part of actually teaching. That's the hachana. That's the preparation for the hashpah. So are there 2 steps or 3 steps? The answer is yes. To the actual hashpah, the actual flow, the actual transmission from Rebbe to Talmud, there are 2 steps. Step 1, Mr. Talmud, Rabbi Talmud, you have to be empty. If you're not empty, you cannot receive anything. That's step 1. Step 2, now use your talents. But that has to all be preceded by the warmth, by the welcome. Here, have some nuts. Here's a joke, a cute word. Has to all be preceded by that. And that preceding stage sets the Talmud up for success in the actual teaching relationship. Does it make any sense?
But how
how does this connect? So how does it correspond with the Maimar Chazal?
Because the Gemara in Saita that says Lo'elam Tei Small Dechvim Kareves
was that referred to?
is talking about the actual hashpah.
Okay, fine. So it's missing that first, not missing, but it's not mentioning that first part.
Correct.
The preface.
Correct.
Priest, okay.
Okay, let's now try to bring it back around a little bit. Kashem, we're in Osvav. Kashem sheshlosh zadros halal indraj v'limu shekol seichel chadash. Just like these three motions, these three movements, are all these three stages are necessary to learn a seichel chadash, a new intellect. New means again not just something that I don't know. If it's something you don't know, so read a book, and then you'll know. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about learning a seichel chadash, something that's a chidush, something that's new. Again, not new because you didn't know it. New because it's beyond your capacity. So in order to learn something that's new, that's revolutionary, that's transformative, we need these three steps. Step one, level the playing field, set the ground, plow the field, get ready for the transmission of ideas. Get ready for the transmission of the newness of the Chiddush. Now you ready for that? Step one, bittul, empty your cup. Step two, use your cup. Make sense so far? Okay. So these the three things are necessary for learning a seichel chadash. Kach gam b'mikoshken v'kal v'chomer kishemedubar odei shinui kol hamatzir shel ha'adam ad lafichos le'mitzvos chadasha. So certainly, if this applies, that we need these three stages to learn something new, then certainly it applies if I want to become something new. Someone new. So far, let's get to our topic. Haleidah shel bnei Yisrael, Batur Am Yisrael, the birth, like we said at the beginning of the Sicha, the Novi Yechezkel says that the exodus from Egypt is the birth of our nation as a Torah folk, as a Torah nation. Oh, so the newness, the revolution of the Jewish people, not the evolution, the revolution, the completely new, boom, there's a new entity. They're not just another gathering of people, it's a new type of people, which came to a gemar, a completion at Har Sinai on Shavuos, also has these three stages. So we're going to see now in our people's history these three stages of how we became new. Aleph, number one, in order that we be able to even go to Har Sinai and receive the Torah, you have to have tavdun. We have to serve. What's serving mean? We have to work. We have to be like an eved. We have to work to neutralize our previous state. Our previous state, Chazal tell us, we were Ovdei Avodah Zarah, but the angels have complained. Why should you redeem the Jewish people? Egyptians are slave, are idolaters, so are the Jews. So we had to be mevatel. We had to completely cancel out our previous isness. Cover this eved like a slave. You have to have nice v'nishma. Nice means we will do, like a slave, like an eved. Setting ourselves aside. However, on the other hand, but we can't break ourselves. We can't, again, remember, if you break your cup, it's all over. So we have to empty the cup but not break it. The Torah is our very essence. That's who. The tavlu, the fact that we are slaves. Sorry, newsflash. Freedom on Egypt doesn't actually mean we're free. It means we're slaves. Just not to Para. To Hashem. It's our etzim mitzius. It's the definition of who we are. Derech dogim. Like fish in the ocean. That according to Shimon Gamliel, I don't think we pass in this way. But according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, in the Mishnah Mikva'os, a fish in the ocean is not a chatzitza. It's not an intervening substance. Why? Because he's one with the sea. A fish cannot be separated from the sea. He depends for his life on the sea, and therefore is in a sense considered part of the sea. So it's not a chatzitza. Chatzitza, an intervening substance, is only when something foreign is there. So the Torah and the Jewish people are like fish in the sea. We're one thing, one unit. Is a Givaldic Pshat in Pirkei Avos, by the way. We're having Pirkei Avos coming up after Pesach, right? Chazal don't say, by the way, in Avos Perek Vav, they don't say Ben Choydin is one who's Oisik B'Torah. That's not what they say.
Ein l'cha
Ein l'cha ben Choydin. Nikuda, period. Ein l'cha ben Choydin. There's no such thing as a free man. Ella. Misha Oisik B'Talmud Torah. Except someone who's Oisik B'Talmud Torah. Someone who's engaged, involved with Talmud Torah, with learning. The L'chura, Harei Torah hu inyan shel tabdun, avdus. Torah is slavery. You have to do it. Ki tiva emitzah shel Yehudi mi briyosei hu l'kayim teva mitzvahs. Chamaim Mishnah, ani nevreis l'shamish es koini. The Mishnah says, I was created to serve Hashem. It's just part of, it's what I am, it's who I am. Torah is me. Torah and me are like the fish in the sea. There's no chatzitza, there's nothing intervening between us. It's one and the same. If God forbid a Yid is not fulfilling Torah mitzvahs, even though how this was 1977, this could mamish be today. Not that that's so long on 1977. The person says, I'm free. I could have whatever I want for dinner. On Saturday, I do whatever I want and go wherever I want. I'm free. You Jew, you Orthodox Jews, you're slaves. You're not allowed to check your phone on Shabbos. I could check it. I could do whatever I want. But Yosef Kalim says, my life is so much easier. I don't have restrictions. When I go to a business meeting, I eat what they serve. I don't have to ask special dispensation for the holidays. I can travel anywhere that I want in the world on any day. It makes no difference. I'm free. However, the fact that the nature of a Yid and his relationship to Torah is like the relationship of fish in the ocean. It's my nature to fulfill the Torah. So if I'm not, God forbid, I'm going against my nature. That's slavery. I'm doing something that I'm not meant to be doing. Like the slavery in Egypt, right? Was that they gave meleches anoshim l'noshim and meleches noshim la'anoshim. They gave work for men to the women and work for women to the men. So the work wasn't hard, it's just not what you're used to. So for a Yid to not live according to Torah mitzvahs is like a man doing a woman's job or a woman doing a man's job. It's hard. It's slavery. It's not what I'm ready for. It's not what I'm built for. That's backbreaking labor. So for a Yid not to keep Torah mitzvahs, God forbid, is backbreaking labor. He's going against his nature. Like we just said. The Martin said also. Even though you're going to say, 1 second, a man, I get to do the woman. I'm sorry to be so chauvinistic for a minute here. I get to do the woman's job. That's easier. I'd rather do that. It's easier. Yeah, right. Find the guy that in the end he wants the woman's job. I'm not trying to be chauvinist, but you understand what I'm saying.
Sports.
Yeah. It's backbreaking labor. When a Yid recognizes his true reality that he is a slave, he is an Eved, that's when he's free. When we realize who we truly are and what we truly are. That's when we realize we're free. Torah is not slavery in the Western sense. We're saying here, Torah really is slavery. Ta'avdun es ha'olokim ala harazeh. The whole Yetzias Mitzrayim is to go to Mount Sinai and get the Torah and serve God. Ta'avdun, eved. That's what we were built for. If I don't do that, I'm doing meleches noshim. I'm doing something I'm not accustomed to, and then I'm taka a slave. That's avodas perach. That's backbreaking labor. Let me do what I'm built for. Easy? He doesn't say, there's no discussion here of easy, by the way. But ein lecha ben choydin elo misha oisek b'Torah. The only way to freedom is to be oisek b'Torah, because that's what we were built for. That's who we are. That's our very essence. It's like fish in the sea. You cannot separate. You take a fish out of the sea, it doesn't go. You take a yid out of the Torah, it doesn't go. A person thinks, I'm free. What's the freedom? It's like social interactions over the last 20 years, or especially over the last 10 years. There's so much isolation people are feeling. There's so much loneliness people are feeling when they're with other people.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they're not actually isolated. They have social lives, they have people, they have friends, but they're on the phone. They're with other people looking at the phone. That's isolation. It's not natural to be with people, but to be separate. It's not normal. I mean, today it is normal.
It's family life. Yeah, unfortunately, it's like a family life. Everyone's at the table looking at their phone, looking at their phones.
I heard from someone once that when she says when I want my kids to come around, I turn off the Wi-Fi router.
Okay.
All of a sudden, one by one, one kid shows up in the kitchen, another kid trickles in, another kid trickles in. Oh, nice to see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a feeling of loneliness when you're with people, of course. And you're why? Because it's not in a sense, that's not what you're built for. We're built, okay, some people are more social than others, I get that. But we're built as social creatures. There needs to be some type of togetherness. It's not what he's saying in the Sichos, but it's a similar idea that when we do what we're built for, we're free. Wouldn't it be the greatest thing just to be able to be who I actually am? Like to really live up,
I mean,
to myself.
it's logical because if you're free, just in the general sense of free, like the obvious sense that most people use free, what does that mean? They can do what you want. You mean do what you want. Do what you want, meaning do what you want, what you're meant to do. So it makes perfect sense. I mean, it really is free. It's just that when you think about it,
and that's in Yiddish, by the way, right? A non-religious Jew, Yiddish says frei.
Right.
What's frei mean? Free.
Free, yeah.
It's ironic. You go the non-religious guy, he's free. He can do whatever he wants. He can eat whatever he wants and do whatever he wants in Shabbos. Go to the movies, Shabbos, doesn't matter.
What does from mean?
Observant, like observant.
It means observe in Yiddish?
I think so. I have a dictionary over here to look it up.
Well, yeah. There's even a family name like from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
From.
Someone said Yid once, oh, nice to meet you, Shalom Aleichem. Where are you from? No, I'm not. Okay.
Yeah.
Specifically when we have Tavdun, when we recognize that the exodus from Egypt is not to set us free, it's to make us slaves, then we could be free. When we recognize that the freedom is in the slavery. Point 3. Through Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, we became a completely new entity. To the extent that even our ta'avdun, even our service of Hashem, seemingly what I do is limited to who I am and my capacity. But when I am living a Torah life, that means that my capabilities are no longer my capabilities. I'm no longer limited by myself. So I'm living by the Torah. I'm doing what the Torah says. So now I'm living on a Torah level. So my capacity, my capability becomes a Torah capability, not just my capability. Now we bring to the three names. These are the three names. Gewaltig. How so? Matzah, step one, Moira al Bitul. Matzah indicates nothingness, Bitul, self-abnegation, having an empty cup. Why? Because matzah is bread that doesn't rise. There's no ego there. There's no arrogance. There's no self. Heder hagba visnasus. It's lacking hagba, elevation. Cheruseinu, that's number one. Then the second name of Pesach is Zman Cheruseinu, the holiday of our freedom. What is Cheruseinu? Moir al kachsha bitul miskal b'mitzir shel b'nei Yisrael ba'ofen shenikar v'nigash ba'inyan amiti shel cherus kanal v'yishlo b'zeh oinig. Cheruseinu, the freedom, indicates that this bitul, this matzah-ness that we experience, this flatness, that I'm not pumped up, that I'm not elevated, I don't have an inflated sense of self, becomes cheruseinu, becomes into who I am. I think what the Rebbe is saying here, is that cheruseinu, free, also means cherus, that it means engraved, like the 10 commandments are engraved in the stone. A letter that is engraved, the letter doesn't even exist. Where's the letter? It's not like ink on parchment, where there's ink and there's parchment, and there's two things that come together. It's engraving. So the letter is empty space.
Right.
But it's carved into the stone. It's inseparable from the stone. So the second stage of Cheruseinu indicates that matzah experience of me matzahifying myself becomes carved in. It becomes part of who I am. Like the letters that are engraved in stone are inseparable from the stone itself. It's part of who I am.
Why is that Cheruseinu?
I think because Cherus is chorus, it means engraved.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The Pesach, and what's the third name? Pesach, but that's the name we call it. Hu Meloshen Dilug. Pesach means to jump, to skip. What's the dilug? Hadilug shalei be'erech. It's a jump. A jump means a leap of faith. What's a leap? A leap is not a step. It's not walking. It's jumping. It's leaping. It's a completely new stage. Hadilug shalei be'erech shahaya v'hayimuchach li'ez etel b'nei Yisrael. The leap that the Yidden needed to take. Mitzad hadilug shalei be'erech shahaya. That is the third stage of reaching a completely new level, a level that was previously inaccessible, previously out of reach. How do you get across a chasm? You gotta jump. So that's what we have to do. We have to jump. And that jump is indicative of the jump that we took and the jump that we can take. Okay, we have just a couple minutes, so let's finish with the last section, and then we'll have to think about it, and we'll have to try to put this all into practice. One of the lessons, there's many lessons. One of the lessons in our Avodas Hashem for each and every one of us as we're approaching Chag HaMatzah Zman Cheruseinu, Chag HaPesach. Today's Daled Nisan. This Shabbos is not Shabbos HaGadol, but next Shabbos is also Erev Pesach, so we're mamish feeling already. Very auspicious time between the Geula of Purim, the Geula of Pesach. It's this very auspicious time. Reishis or Avodah Vikara V'Sharsha, the very first step, the beginning of Avodas Hashem. He Yira, the Kabbalah's oil, Avodas Eved is Yira. Is awe, is reverence, is Kabbalah's all, is accepting the yoke, is naise v'nishma. I will do and I will afterwards understand. Is avodas eved, is to serve Hashem like an eved, like a slave. But being a slave don't mean you have to be sad. Doesn't mean you have to be depressed and cast down. I'm doing what I have to do. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to be broken. We're all tzaddikim. We don't have to be broken. We don't have to be depressed. This avoida is a geschmack. This avoida has to be with a lebedik, be exciting. Not meant to be a feeling of lowness or brokenness. If there's a wall, if there's a curtain blocking that happiness in your life, blocking that geschmack, break it. The person may need their own bittul to get beyond themselves, to show that they have a heart, that they could feel, that there could be sensitivity. When it comes to holiness, there's no brokenness. Shvira, brokenness does not belong in the realm of kedusha. You need to have, like we said, I think in the Maimer Shabbos morning, there needs to be a sense of heaviness, of seriousness, of severity almost, of bitterness. That's only because of our body and our animal soul. When my animal soul is telling me what to do, when my animal soul is calling me the shots, I gotta break it. So any shavira, any brokenness that I may need, any sense of bitterness and downcast is only for my body and my animal soul. But the godly soul, only simcha. This also explains a story. The Alter Rebbe had a tobacco box, snuff tobacco, mikesef, made out of silver. There was no cover on it or something. Yeah, why did I mean like one of the little box, like with the cover like this, but the cover was missing. Why? The cover, remember, it was made out of silver. Shahaya Mavrik was a glimmering, reflective silver. He used it to check out his tefillin, to make sure his tefillin were exactly in the middle. That's what he did with the cover of his silver tobacco box. Now, one time some chassidim were talking about this to the Tzemach Tzedek, who was the grandson of the Alter Rebbe. And they said, what the chassidim said, they said the Alter Rebbe broke off the covering of the tobacco box. Tzemach Tzedek said, no, he didn't. Omer al Kachat Tzemach Tzedek, in Yonoi Shel Hasaba, Shelo. It's a typo, I think. I was supposed to say Shaloi. In Yonoi Shel Hasaba, Shaloi, Loi Hayo Lishpor. My grandfather's in was not to break things. So you said, he said to the Chassidim, that he broke off the cover. There's no way he broke off the cover. He would never break anything. He didn't break it. There must have been a little pin that connected the cover. And he must have just removed the pin. So he didn't break off the cover. He just took it apart and then used the cover. So when it comes to Kedusha, we don't break. No, even if he did break it off, no, so what? Big deal. He's using it for something good to straighten his tefillin, right? Had his ahoylish and mitzvah for a mitzvah. So that's not breaking, that's using it for a mitzvah. Nevertheless, when it comes to Kedusha, there's no inyan of breaking at all. So that's how the Tzemach Tzedek knew with certainty that there's no way the Alter Rebbe broke it. Therefore, the bittul that is required from us, the suspension of ourself, the matzifying ourself, flatten, the emptying the cup that is required of us in order to receive, in order to have transformational change, Pasha, to become a matzah, to be a matzah. It sounds silly, but which is the avodah shel nefesh elokis gufa. This is the avodah with the godly soul. Tzrichim lias ba'oinig v'chayis. It can't be in a broken way. You can't show up to shul with a krechts. You can't do that. That's not the avodah that's demanded of us. It has to be with oinig uv'chayis. It has to be with enjoyment, with vitality, with excitement, with energy. Knowing how do we make it with a simcha? How do we make it with pleasurable? By knowing, by drilling it in, that this is who I am. This is how I be free. Torah mitzvahs is not a yoke. I mean, it is a yoke. It's not a yoke. It's not something that I should moan about. I mean, no, basics of parenting, right? If you moan and groan about your Torah obligations, that sends a very, very clear message to the children. A message that we don't want to send at all. And if we ever slip up, we see right away, oh, my kids picked up on that. But even without the kids, to really, truly experience the freedom of Pesach, which is mamish on the table, the Abish is waiting for us to pick it up from the Geula of Pesach, the Geula of Purim, the Geula of Pesach. The steps of the Seder, Kaddish, Urchatz, all the different steps. Each thing is all part of the freedom, which of course the pinnacle is the Achilas Matzah, is eating the Matzah, the Seder, the Gishmak of the Matzah, to recognize who we truly are. A fish in the sea, that's what I am. Me and the Torah, there's no such thing as a free man except for someone who learns Torah. This is my true expression. This is my true existence. This is who I am. So if I could just live in that way, if I could recognize that truth, this itself brings so much comfort to know I'm doing what I was created for. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's a simcha. People look around their whole lives trying to find purpose, meaning. What am I supposed to do with my life? What are you supposed to do with your life? Torah. Mitzvahs. That's what you're supposed to do. Everything else, you'll figure it out. Your job, your place where you live, all these things. Okay, you'll work out. And this is the simcha vayid. The simcha vayid is the matzah. Chag matzahs, which is man cheruseinu, that it becomes chorus, it becomes engraved into who I am. It's part of who I am. And that brings to the Pesach, the jump, that we make this jump. We make this jump to become a completely new person, which really is just becoming ourselves. Really an expression of what our true capacity is, what we're truly capable of. Comments, questions?
How does those three stages of Matzah, Cherus, and Pesach relate to the thing we were talking right before that with the left and then the right, and does it connect or it's just different?
I think it connects. I think so.
And I get the general point, but I'm just trying to get the details.
Right.
It doesn't have to be right now.
Right.
Well, the bedicha, the left and right, only has two aspects, but we said before that we said the bedicha, the humorous thing,
Right.
I'm an empty cup.
What's the humorous thing as far as the names?
Right. Well, that's what the rabbi's gonna.
Oh.
I'm an empty cup.
You're doing the joke, and then
I'm an empty cup, but I'm a cup. Those are the three stages. So how do those three correspond to matzah, not matzah?
Right. Matzah,
Keinu, and then Pesach.
And then Pesach. I'm not 100% sure. I think it has to do with the last point he's saying here. That the matzah step, the first step of the avodas eved, of Kabbalah's oil, which is what the matzah represents, is not in a broken way. It's with simcha, like the Milsa de Bedicha, like the opening stage, with kiruv, with warmth, with openness. I think that he's going in that direction. But Tzarech even have to think about it some more. And we're already a little bit late, so we'll wrap up now. And hopefully we'll have a chance to continue to think about the Sikha, maybe go over it before Yom Tov again. Keep the copy if you want to go over it, we can talk about it. Kosher und Freilich in Pesach.
We shouldn't